I thought I knew why I came here. I saw it. The end. It was so vivid. But now the truth feels further away than ever. I still have so many questions.
You said you were going out, but I heard you through the wall. I said don't go far. You had me searching for a reason, but I was in the dark.
We can't let Trinity get hold of this.
Let's think this through.
Do you realize the tragedy you have unleashed? The cleansing has begun. It falls to me now to stop it before it consumes us all.
What have I done?
What a shame you can't hear me. I speak louder. Thought you could keep me in reserve.
I know that it's not practical. I know that it's hard to believe.
Could I hold myself back? Well, you fed me a fable, but I know the taste of life.
You don't know that you caused all this, Lara!
You need to trust me.
We have to trust each other.
I speak louder.
He wants to alter the course of humanity. If you had that power, what would you do?
Please welcome Megan Marie, Camilla Luddington, Jill Murray, Darryl Purdy, and Earl Baylon.
Can I do this? Can I?
Yeah, selfie time.
I want to do it too.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. How you doing today? You excited? Hi. Are we okay? It is really exciting for us to be here showing off Shadow of the Tomb Raider and talking about the performance and narrative and so on, and to have all of these special guests. We appreciate you coming out to see us. And so we'll just get started right away so that we can get as much conversation in as possible. So first and foremost, before we get into any of the specifics, Jill, do you want to contextualize the conversation by explaining a bit of the story around Shadow of the Tomb Raider?
I would love to. So going back to Tomb Raider 2013, we met Lara as a survivor. In Rise of the Tomb Raider, she became more of a hunter. And now she arrives in Shadow of the Tomb Raider at the full height of her powers. She's completely fixated on stopping Trinity, and she has with her her best friend Jonah, who is also at the height of his capabilities in his own way. So she's charging ahead, trying to get ahead of Trinity, get to the artifact before they do. She does, she takes it, but now what's always worked for her so well turns out to be a mistake, and she accidentally sets off an actual world-ending apocalypse, which creates some tension in their friendship.
Just a little bit. Yeah. That's a pretty big oops. But it was well intentioned. It was.
Yes. Always well-intentioned.
Yes, exactly. Lara's always got her heart
She's
in the
just
right
so
place.
driven.
Exactly. Okay, so Darryl, we want to show a clip of Camilla and Earl and give you guys a little bit of context as to what it looks like in the volume when they're doing the acting and so on. But first, can you set up what you do as a performance director and what the process is of working with them and working with Jill?
Yeah, as a performance director, I guess I kind of oversee the on-screen character performance. probably my biggest role is working with these two and our other cast to direct the performance capture shoots, and also directing the voiceover work. We kind of record the performances in those two ways. They're two drastically different kind of scenarios. Performance capture, I always say, is a little bit like, I call it the cross between kind of film and theater, where we're going for the subtlety and the emotion of film, but we don't shoot it in small packages. We don't set up for our master and then set up for a close-up or anything like that. We kind of shoot long takes, and then we digitally do the camera work after the fact. So in that way, that's where it feels a bit more like theater, where it's kind of long takes that we're doing.
Okay, very cool. So Camilla, can you set up the scene for us? You know, the rooftop scene for us?
Okay. So Lara has, she feels like she's doing the right thing. She has taken an artifact that she wants to prevent Trinity from getting a hold of. She does not realize that in doing so, she sets off the end of the world. And, oh, did you hear the beginning of what I said? Okay, good, cool. It's kind of important. She sets off the end of the world, and she ends up meeting Jonah on the roof and realizing that she has tunnel vision again for just wanting to basically make things right with regards to Trinity and the artifact, and he's sort of telling her to look around her and see the devastation, and that maybe they can help in other ways, and they get into a bit of an argument. I don't want to spoil it, so that's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seconded? Okay. Let's see the clip.
Jonah! Jonah!
Lara! I was so worried.
I failed. Worse.
What do you mean?
Dominguez was the one who ordered my father's death, and he has the dagger. I lost it. After everything that my father went through, I gave Trinity exactly what they wanted. He'll use the box and the knife to remake the world.
To remake it into what?
I don't know. He thinks he can rid it of sin and weakness.
This world?
A man like that, we have to stop him. It's all my fault.
We'll figure it out, okay? I promise.
No. We have to get to the hidden city before Trinity. We have to find the silver box.
Okay, but first, we're gonna help these people get to safety, and then we'll go after the box.
No one is safe. Not if he gets the box first. I have to go. I'm the only one.
You're the only one that can what? You don't know that you caused all this, Lara. Not everything is about you. These people need us here. We can do good now. Besides, what do we gotta go on? A riddle? We're gonna need more than pink fish and silver crowns to get to the hidden city.
Isn't that amazing? I've seen that dozens of times, and I still get goosebumps from it because it's such a powerful scene. So both Camilla and Earl, you guys have played the characters for all 3 games in the reboot now. Let's start with you first, Camilla. Can you share how Lara has evolved through the course of the games, and what the unique challenges were specifically to Shadow?
Oh, wow. Well, in the first game, obviously, she starts out very naive, and she's in survival mode and trying to save the family that she's made after losing her parents, save those people around her. And so she feels like they are hunted. In the second game, she is on a mission to sort of hunt Trinity, and she wants to just uncover the... Oh, wow. Maybe it wasn't working the whole time.
No.
I
think we can hear
it. Was okay. She's on a mission to sort of understand what happened with regards to her father's death. The challenge and difference with this game is that I think for the most part, Lara has made really she's always had good intentions, but I feel like her choices have been right. And in this game, I think that she makes a lot of mistakes, and she crosses lines that she didn't realize or intend necessarily to cross, or thinks she's doing the right thing and is making mistakes. And she has tunnel vision for Trinity in a way that makes her lose herself to the mission. And in this game, one of the challenges is her having to re-find out who she is. And also confront things that she didn't want to maybe confront about herself and her intentions. And Jonah's one of those people that make her sort of face herself. So it's a darker Tomb Raider for sure. And it's definitely more of a struggle as an actress because she goes through a lot, and she's really pushed in this game to her limit. I mean, you almost think that what other limit could she be pushed to compared to the other two games, but she gets pushed even more in this game.
Yeah, and to some degree, the first two games she's pushed mentally and physically, but Shadow, more so than physically, it's that self-reflection, it's the mental, it's how she's pushed kind of to look within herself, like you were saying. So it's a different type of intensity too, which is interesting. Yeah. So Earl, I think many fans were very surprised by what they just saw. You looked like you were surprised by it even.
It's the first time I've seen just the raw.
Oh, really? Seen it raw? Yeah. So the intensity and the response to Lara was incredible. How is Jonah grown? Because it's very different than, I guess, the Jonah people remember from the past two games.
I think that in the first game, Jonah was kind of in a, I don't want to say like a good place, but like an easy place mentally. He was in a comfortable place. He had found like a new family in the crew of the Endurance, and kind of after that was taken away, through the events of Yamatai, he became a lot more cautious, and this is kind of just the extension of that, where like he is feeling the loss again, and it puts him into super protective mode, and maybe he's projecting that loss onto Lara, and there's a mix of him not wanting to lose her, but also, he's scared. He's scared, I think, of possible loss again, and that's why he's lashing out. And he's like, no, I got to put my foot down somewhere.
Yeah, she's impulsive too, and he's always been the opposite of that.
Right.
And I think that they're clashing in that moment too. That's one of the first scenes that we shot, right?
Actually, I love that people are responding really well to this actual clip, because that was first day of shooting.
It was.
And there's multiple stories about this one particular scene that will stick with me for a while. Like, I think it was the last take.
Right.
We had already had a really good take in the bag, and we decided to try one more. And I went up to Earl, and I didn't tell Camilla this, but I went up to Earl and I just said, look, in this take, hurt her, emotionally. And then that came out. And all of us, I remember Jill, Dave, the cinematics director, and I were all standing in front of the monitors, and we were like, telling it, the hair standing up on end now. It was
that reaction that you had with that genuine, like that taken aback, you were actually surprised in that take.
Yeah, because you hadn't quite done it like that at that point. And we'd already done a few takes, and obviously things changed. But when he really went at me, I was like, wow.
Sorry.
Yeah.
See it in your eyes immediately. It was just
I was like, excuse you?
It was magic.
Excuse you. I remember afterwards, after you called cut, I was like shaking. I was so angry.
Really?
I was like, what's wrong with me? And I had to go take a break for a hot second.
I was too busy walking across the volume going, oh my God, did we just get that?
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
But I'm glad it turned out the way it did.
Oh, God.
And like seeing it in cinematic form,
Yeah, it's hard to sort of understand the context of the very beginning part of that, but once you see it in the game, like, you'll understand the intensity of me rolling over and seeing Jonah and what is surrounding us, and it makes me scream for him.
Yeah. So you two have collaborated on all of the games so far. I'm interested to know if, how that relationship between you two as actors has evolved, and if you push each other or challenge each other on set. We just had a nice example of that, but if you can expand upon that a little bit further, that'd be great.
Well, I think, and I just spoke about this earlier today, I think one of the things that Darryl allowed us to do at this point was to play with scenes.
Right.
And sometimes to improvise moments. And so you know, I trust Earl as an actor. We've been working together for a long time. We know the characters really well. We know their intentions at this point, and obviously their history. And so with that in the bag, when you understand all of that and you have that knowledge, it enables you to really play in scenes a lot more. So there are times when he would throw me an unscripted line and it would make for like a cute moment between them. And you know, there's a lot of trust that goes into, especially, all of our scenes are super intense, always, emotionally intense and draining. So, I don't know, I think at this point, just being able to trust each other in those moments and know that, you know, that we're going to pull through for each other as actors and kind of lean on each other. And sometimes there are moments where it's a lot for me and I have to step away and I want to do a take again, or I can tell that Earl needs that extra take to like push through, to, you know, and we allow each other to have that. I think it shows.
I agree. I think one of the great things that Camilla does is when we're doing takes is like we'll kind of like contextualize it before the actual take, and then she'll go, let's just play with it. And I'm like, I like that.
I'm always like, let's just play.
Yeah. And that
moments come out of that when we like free ourselves.
I mean, there's all these little, actually, a thing that and this is not spoiling anything, but one of the things that came out of that kind of freedom to just try stuff is there was a take that we did in one of the other scenes where it might have been in a rehearsal, but we were just kind of running the scene, and Camilla kind of like gave Earl a shot in the arm, and I was like, oh my God, I love that. So we tried actually
like
later on,
punched him basically.
Yes.
But it was just such a genuine moment between these two people who have shared so much time together that I felt like, oh my God, this seems like such a best friend thing to do.
Right.
And I remember making a mental note going like, hey, where are we going to try to get those in? Like those little moments where, you know, there is just that like, hey, let's go, or, you know, come on. And it became kind of a little thing. You guys will see when the game comes out, there's about 3 or 4 scenes where you can see variations of this little, come on, play. You know, it's great, and it makes you feel like these people have spent so much time together.
Yeah.
You know, they would have this kind of, you know, it's like when my wife punches me when I say something stupid.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
I really like, and I think I said this earlier, but just the kind of like the quiet walk and talk stuff between Lara and Jonah. That, to me, it feels like we haven't seen a ton of that. So when we get a chance to actually do that, it feels like pretty awesome.
We were discussing this earlier. There is a lot of intensity to Shadow of the Tomb Raider and that inner conflict and so on. But there are these moments of levity, especially between you two, where you can feel that friendship and it's a little bit lighter. And you know, someone asked kind of jokingly earlier, is Lara going to smile? Is Lara going to laugh in this series?
There's no smiling. It's in my contract. Absolutely zero smiling.
Exactly.
Ever.
But it's great. There were moments when I played through it last, because I'm spoiled and get to play through it early. When I played through it last, you know, there are moments where there's just this great natural feeling dialogue with like them making jokes and laughing, and so it's wonderful to have that like uplifting moment. And it seems like you were saying a lot of that was kind of improvised.
Yeah.
Some of the joke, the smaller communications between you two.
It's a lot of this, I wouldn't say not all of it, but like we were given the freedom to, you know, play around with a lot of things. And a lot of times there would be, after we finished the lines that we had, the text, Darryl would sometimes wait to call cut. And I'm like, oh, I have to say something. Like I feel it like in my actor hindbrain. I'm like, I have to say something. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. If it goes off well, then it's going to end up in game. If it doesn't, oh well. Yeah. So yeah.
Funny. All right. So Darryl and Jill, how do you balance this inner conflict that we've been discussing with a character that is still someone people can root for, right? So she's struggling. She's not necessarily making the right decisions, but how do you make her still someone that the fans want, you know, in their corner and are cheering for?
I think the real secret is the fact that she has this inner conflict is what makes her likable and relatable. And I think oftentimes when you're working on an adventure game with a heroic character, there's a lot of pressure to reward the player for their every action. You're the best, this character is the best, they always have the best intentions. And we get used to that after a while. It starts to feel repetitive. We don't feel as rewarded by being told all the time that we're amazing. So when you have the opportunity to create someone who feels more real and who encounters similar conflicts like all of us do, that's what makes them feel much more approachable and understandable and human.
Oh yeah, I mean, just for Lara in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I mean, I guess it becomes a bit subjective. Like, I really like her. I mean, she has qualities that are to be admired. I mean, she has an iron will. She's driven, she's focused, she's capable. But with all of that kind of like that power that she has, she does suffer from the same things that a lot of us do, that we can be so focused on a goal at some point that we can push the rest of our lives kind of outside and in the blinders, and we have these huge blind spots where we're not even aware that our actions are affecting people in certain ways. I think that is a very, very human thing that Lara shows in this game, and I think that's what makes her likable, because I can relate to that as a person.
Also, like, the whole team has done such a great job of putting all of these moments in context. We made the scene. I know what's coming up, but every time she goes and hesitates and then reaches for that dagger, you feel in that moment, like, take it.
Yeah.
And it's totally wrong, but you really understand. You get it. You really want it.
Of course.
That curiosity.
You need to get it
you
before
can't-
Trinity. Come on.
Let's just think this through.
Come on, Jonah.
I know, come on, man.
So, Jill, speaking to the relationship between Lara and Jonah again, you said that it's a very rare type of friendship. Can you expand on the characters themselves and their interactions and why it's rare to see that in games?
Yes, this is something that's important to me, and I know it's also important to lots of people in the community because they reach out and tell me so. And it's just to see a friendship between a man and a woman on any screen, games or any other kind of media, that is just a good, that is a good quality friendship, and that there is a whole relationship to explore there outside of the context of romance. It's something that's really important for me because since childhood, I've always had a lot of really close male friends, and it's something that I've struggled with. People don't know how to deal with it. They tease you. They try to make it strange, and it can be very difficult. And I just think that seeing these things honored on screen is so important and such a rare opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Darryl, you say that trust on set is imperative, capturing these genuine performances. So how do you facilitate trust when you're on the stage?
I mean, I think we kind of touched on it a bit. I truly believe in collaboration. I mean, obviously you need to have very, I don't know, absolute or goals that you're going for when you get a scene, right? There's certain story things that you have to get across. There's obviously certain emotional things that you want to hit with the character because they have an emotional arc. But what I love, what kind of gets me out of bed in the morning when we're directing these, is getting a scene up on its feet with the actors and then giving them ownership of it and saying, like, look, these are your characters, try something. And I hope that's the way it was, because I want them to be, whether it came down to we have to block a scene a certain way. A great example is actually in the clip that we watched, there was a moment when Lara runs to Jonah and they embrace. Well, when we storyboarded this, we storyboarded it as they both hug each other, okay? And that was how it was written and everything, and we were like, oh, cool. And then we did a couple takes, and Camilla came over and said, you know what? I feel like where I'm at this moment, I would be kind of a bit in shock, and I don't think I would hug him. I would just kind of go into his arms, and immediately I was kind of like, that's different. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play, but let's try it. And as soon as they did the take, I was like, oh my God, that's way better. That's way better than what I would have thought of, So it's stuff like that gets me really excited, because it's the moment where you find something that you never knew you always wanted. And then it's in front of you and you're like, okay, that's how it should play.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those little moments and that collaborative process is really shining through in the performance of Shadow of the Tomb Raider. We have to wrap it up. That was the fastest half hour ever, I feel like.
That was so fast.
I know. But it has been absolutely wonderful talking with you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is coming out September 14th. It is not long now. We're so excited for it to get out there and for you guys to play this, Lara's defining moment as she becomes the Tomb Raider. So we hope you enjoyed yourself, and thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.